I don't get to do this, so I can do whatever the heck I want. This is episode number 298 or
Look,
so.
If you say it's 298, it's 298.
It's 298.
That's who makes the rules around
Say,
here.
write it on the wall behind you.
There are 4 lights. There are 4 lights.
Before we introduce ourselves, I just want to make sure that everyone knows we are actually getting paid a little bit here. This particular video stream
Let's rephrase that, please.
He's buying lunch, man.
No, there's no lunch. There's no lunch, Leo. You've been lied to. There's no lunch.
No such thing as
episode is
by Server
server
Press and Desktop Server, and also WP Site Sync. And if you didn't,
We got
totally
2?
missed
Oh, no, that's them.
Yeah.
They're both them.
and if you totally missed it, we actually had Mark on the show last night over on WP Blab, where we talked about what's a nice way of saying spamming your users over and over again for Black Friday. But we talked about that. It was really cool.
I think you just said
marketing.
it nicely. Marketing.
Yep.
Christmas holiday marketing.
No, it was cool. We talked a lot about
Capitalism.
we talked a lot about sending out emails and sending out the same email or variations of it to the same people multiple times in a day to get them to actually come to the site and go purchase and stuff. And it actually worked out really well in their favor. Feel free to go take a look at that particular episode. It was pretty awesome.
I think
All right,
we should be
let's get-
called Blab because like we blab more and you guys talk about like real things and we're just like and you like have like topics over
we do.
there.
Totally
You
have
like topics and like guests. I guess we have guests. Look at
They're like-
here we have some right here.
Speaking of which, let's go around the room real quick.
We have guests and
Everyone
toys to
introduce.
them off.
George, you're going to be the first one to speak. Tell us a bit about yourself.
I refuse. Now,
Okay.
I am George Fons. I work for Jetpack. I like building Chinese, and I am trying to get folks learning how to build Guten blocks. So if you really want to, but you don't know how, let me know. I'll see what I can do.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being on as usual. How about you, David? Tell us a bit about yourself.
It's David. I work at 2U. Let's see, I mainly do full stack development. I also run. Yes, I work 2U. Now, yeah, so 2U, is an edutech company. We produce a lot of online programs for big universities, like Berkeley's data science online program. We produce that. But I also involved with Leo in like a bunch of tech communities in Long Beach. So I run the Code and Coffee in Long Beach. You haven't heard about that. And yeah, I'm here today to talk about serious things.
Awesome. Well, it's good to have you on.
Very serious things.
Very serious things.
Very
They're
serious
so
things.
serious.
So much so we don't even know what we're going to be talking about yet. It's going to be awesome. Leo, how about you? Tell us about yourself.
Hey, I'm Leo. I work for XWP. I also run the Long Beach WordPress meetup group with a couple people, including David. But this is the same Long Beach WordPress meetup group that Say Reed has never attended, which I'm calling her out. You gotta come.
Dude, it's literally in your city. Come on.
Your mic's not working, so I'll say for you, I'll be there.
Steve, you'll be there too? Because I know you're
I'm
like
speaking per se.
you're 20 minutes away. Come on, too.
I am. It's true.
My phone number is in Long Beach, so maybe I should attend.
Yeah, you should. So
Say just wants to talk and she can't, which is great.
George, you got your
I've been
Christmas
waiting
wish.
for this moment.
I read
How about-
WordPress, teach WordPress, think WordPress. Right? Oh, that's her. Sorry, just kidding.
Yeah, no, you just introduced Say. Say Reed on all the things. At Say Reed on all the things.
Oh, man. What about you, Steve?
I am Steve Zengit. I am the founder of Zeek Interactive, and I run the OC WordPress meetup.
Awesome. So we didn't really talk about what we were going to talk about because, Steve showed up 3 minutes before we hit go.
Hey.
Like 30 minutes before she normally does.
It's opposite day.
George made like plenty of cool things on his desk over there, and yeah, we've been having a lot of fun, but we never really talked about what we're going to discuss today. So apparently there's that Gutenberg thing that's happening, right? How's that going for everybody?
Don't ask.
It's
That good, huh?
I'm actually super excited about Gutenberg. We've been doing a ton of stuff at XWP. We're building this AMP stories editor, which we're going to have. It's not going to be as shiny as I want it to be, but it's going to be super cool in its sort of early alpha state. We're working on it quite a bit. It actually builds on top of Gutenberg quite extensively. So that's like almost out of the oven. And it's all in an open source repo, which has been a lot of fun to watch people respond to and people like chime in and build. And also, we've been just trying to understand like the actual impact this is going to mean on many of our clients, and watching sort of core decide how big this change is going to be and when. But to be fair, it's not necessarily core who's deciding when. So as far as I can tell, I don't think there's a release date for 5.0 yet. Like it keeps nudging forward. The post this morning from Matt implied that it was December. That's all I know.
It's largely depending on how the RCs are going. I mean, if the RCs are going smoothly, it'll be sooner. If any surprising issues creep up, it'll get pushed back. So it'll ship when it's ready, which
In my
is
opinion, I think
vague
that's
and
the best way to
annoying.
do it.
But
That is the best way to do it. There is an event coming up next weekend that
Steve's not going
big
to,
announcement.
and now I can hear you. Yay!
Hey, we can hear Say. Oh,
I'm
okay,
back.
I'm out of here.
I swear to God, if anyone tries to launch 5.0 from the stage at WPwatercooler, there will be blood.
Just anyone
Yes.
or Matt?
I don't know. I think Pento might try it.
Any random speaker could just say 5.0's out during their talk. I think that'd be awesome.
You know what? Gary Pendergast might. Okay.
Cat channel bug scrub. Let's go.
Will it happen during an office hour? I hear that there's an office hour thing that's occurring now as well with Matt.
Yeah.
He's listening to people in the community.
He's taken 15 minutes to talk to people randomly as an open sort of welcome.
We could totally give him a half an hour, and we wouldn't even take a whole hour. Matt, if you want to come on, I'll give you a link. I'll make it happen.
Again.
Again. He's been on before.
Speaking of Matt, I saw that he chimed in on the Core Privacy channel. He looked at our roadmap, which is super exciting. So some of you may remember back at WordCamp Europe, he made fun of privacy. I was like, oh, cookie joke. It was cute. He's moving toward, I think, a lot of interesting community things that are surrounding what Gutenberg will mean for the future of WordPress. So I'm really excited for what this means. I'm still worried that we're running, not walking. And by running, I mean like at a lightning pace. So it's just a matter of trying to sequence and time stuff so that we all feel confident and comfortable. I can hear Say Reed. By here, I mean I can see her speaking, and she's not muted.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you. No. This is best show ever, by the way.
This is awesome.
Ever.
We got the best of both worlds. Say's on the show, but she can't talk. It's so great.
Oh, I should probably also mention I'm speaking at WordCamp US.
Mean it.
You are. You should announce that WordPress 5.0 is out during your talk.
Oh.
Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Man.
Oh, you can?
Yes.
Yeah. Dude, you need to get like $3 headphones, not $2 headphones.
Say pick those up at 7-Eleven right before the show.
Now I can't hear you again.
Yeah, we can hear you. Did you try? Did you try jiggling it? Did you jiggle it?
Fine.
Try turning it off and on again. we can hear you.
We can totally hear you.
Yes. Yeah.
Just unplug it from the computer from your phone.
Yeah.
So or whatever it is you're using over there.
She's on
okay. So George thinks that there may be a small possibility that someone will hit the launch button on stage.
No, that was a joke. I do not seriously think that. Do not quote me. I did not say that. I did not suggest that.
But what if something like that were to happen?
Everyone panics and dies.
Yeah, it's probably someone giving a lightning talk is going to do that.
Sweet.
How fast can we get everyone to run back to their hotel rooms and start, making sure that nothing is broken?
Yeah.
Ready?
That one commit. That's all you have to do.
Launching 5.0 from the stage of a lightning talk. Go.
Yeah. I mean, I think crazier stuff happen. It's possible.
You pull out your phone, you remote desktop to another computer that's in some other place, that's through VPN, that's connecting to some other computer at your house, and then you hit the go button.
Yeah, I've actually done that before. It's from Yosemite.
What have I started?
David, did you connect over dial-up though?
Yeah, I did that once. It's a long story.
Long story.
Yeah.
What about connecting over Telnet?
Honestly, I haven't done that yet. I haven't done that yet for
deployment. A very serious upgrade.
Yeah, it'll be a very serious upgrade.
Hey, Jason, did you hear about our quest to create the world's most compatible thing?
No, what was that about?
So
he said, playing into your trap.
So Riverside a few weeks ago had this kind of innocuous theme. It was looking back to go forward.
I
And
have my swag in my hand. They gave away a little cassette tape USB drive. I love this thing. I just keep it on my desk.
Yeah, have you plugged it into a computer yet?
I have not. I will not. So,
Me neither. I'm just like, this is like, Josh, I really appreciate this, but I will not plug this in my computer.
yeah, that scares me. Anyway, sorry.
What'd you end up doing, Leo?
Well, we decided to go down the weird, wild path of creating something that was going to be peak 1980s, peak 2018, but all in the same vogue. So here's the basic pitch. Gutenberg exists as a content platform. Why can't we connect it to fax machines and VR headsets all at the same time?
We can't.
David, what are those?
He's got some floppy disks.
Yeah, this is some floppy disk.
Look at that.
So no one is asking why you can't make Gutenberg content available on floppy disks until we did.
What? Okay.
All right, what'd you do?
We're not asking why you can't. We're asking why you would want to.
Because we've got to create the world's most compatible thing. Accessibility needs to be built in by default. So we've started from the most important baseline, which says we need a single place where all the data lives in a really structured way. And as we think about every time period, we should be thinking about semiotics. How do we make this actually fit the true value of the meaning of that content?
But you put it on a floppy disk that can't be plugged into a computer. I mean, my computer doesn't even have normal USBs. It has like USB-Cs now.
Well, why stop at floppy disk? You need to go all the way back to punch card.
Right? Here's your stack.
Funny you should say that.
Punch cards are quite hard. We haven't actually solved that one yet, but we did solve.
You're not trying hard enough.
Yeah.
No, you're laughing. We were talking punch cards at Philly.
Why?
Why not?
Okay.
So at this point, what I would probably do is I would get like small wooden blocks that we would then like CNC punch in holes that are punch cards. Because like the problem with punch cards is that like you're not going to spend all of this effort creating a punch card that falls apart. And people aren't really going to find a machine that generates or reads punch cards. So if you actually just gave out like wooden blocks with punch cards on them, it would still meet the same basic effect. But of course, we would include at least one paper punch card along the way. So if someone really did want to try this, it would be possible.
So it's a distributed system because everyone has a small component of the total project, because it'd just be the one card, not a whole bunch of cards that would make up the whole project.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we don't think about this in the normal way anymore, but there are people all across the world that are still using incredibly wonderful legacy hardware. There's this automotive shop in Poland somewhere where they use a Commodore 64 to do wheel alignments. And it's been apparently running for like 45 years. So like, I would love to show up one day with the 5 1/4 floppy and say, hello, I have made you something. I promise it won't break.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you ever need
But I have
parts,
to ask-
hook them up.
I have to ask why. I mean, are they just doing it now just for bragging rights? There's no reason to keep that around, right? They could upgrade to the next system and.
Well, they used to use the VIC-20, and so that now you know.
But they could upgrade to like a late 80s system for like $20.
There is a newspaper still in I believe in Colorado that still publishes weekly using printing presses and a linotype machine, hot lead type melted into the brass letter forms to make lines of type.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Right. These are a bunch of people that hate themselves.
Did I leave and we came back in a different century? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think there's something to be said of maintaining and like still using old hardware, like like the Polish mechanic shop. I have a lot of respect for that, because I have right here a OnePlus 5 that's a year old, and I'm like, man, this is getting kind of old. It has 8 gigs of RAM, it has like 128 gigabytes of storage on here, but it's like the processor's a little old.
Look, since we are talking about this stuff, our buddy Steve Carnum, who runs, who's our sponsor, right?
Yep.
Who runs ServerPress. This is his hobby. He
Resurrects old computers.
Exactly. Thank you. That's exactly what he does.
So we're talking about Leo, and I'm assuming also then David's project with the retaining all the forms of data thing. I have a question about it. I don't know if you've answered it already, because I had to restart my computer in order for the microphone to work.
Well, you're using headphones from the
What year is it?
Speaking about legacy technology. Speaking of legacy technology, no. So if you preserve it, right? What do you do with it? How do you experience it?
So I just want to talk about content and its forms as well as its vessels. So the most interesting car I think that has ever been built is the McLaren F1. The McLaren F1 has a computer that sits next to it that runs on floppies. And I think at this point, there are like 7 or 8 computers left in the world that will run the McLaren F1. And these cars, by the way, are like $5 or $6 million. So the software that actually runs this to be able to do the things at a core level requires the machines that have all the right connections and validation.
Wait, did you say a car?
Yes.
Yes.
The car needs floppy disks?
That's what he's saying, yes.
Yes.
It's a McLaren.
Just
Next
install
to
Windows.
it? Is
Once
it
they
like a
install
little
Windows,
sidecar,
then they
like a little
install the rest of it.
motorcycle?
No. A McLaren is a sports car.
No, but like, so where's the computer that you're talking about?
So when you take your car in for service or you're upgrading things or you're like resetting the oil light, you need this computer next to it to be able to do all these various things.
Oh, I see.
And just like that, to really replicate original experiences, you need to make sure that you have the right devices next to it. So for example, this here is my wonderful feature phone. This is the new Nokia banana phone, which I love, which first of all looks like a banana. And look,
Ring.
I can, in appropriate context, replicate what it was like to use the internet. And look, my project works just fine on an experience that I can say was my childhood, right? If you really want to make something feel real, you have to present it in the original context. So showing movies in 35mm print, listening to records on vinyl, doing things.
So as opposed to listening to a vinyl recording on MP3 or like, through your headphones or something.
It's on MP3. It's not a vinyl recording.
No, it could be a vinyl recording, but played, they have those.
Vinyl transferred to digital is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Which means it's no longer vinyl.
But here's the thing. You would want to...
I didn't make it up. That's a real thing that happens, that exists.
So part of the compatibility thing is you want to keep distributing content across the various forms. But if you can keep things that are still period appropriate in their original way, the experience is so much better. So as far as I can tell, like we literally are the first website that you can get via fax. You can fax our phone number, which we can put in the show notes. And then you can get that literally fax website back, a full page with all the content, as wild and weird as it is.
Is there any latency?
Yeah.
Wait. How do I get a fax of a web page? How do I get a web page faxed to me? What?
So basically, this is how it works. You put whatever you want on this, and like we store and scan and save all the things you send to us. And I don't know what we're gonna do with it. We might do something that might not.
That was my question. What are you doing with all of this stuff that you have?
I don't know.
We can get there later. She says the person who has a 600 square foot storage unit full of books. Don't worry. I feel you. I'm good. We're fine.
It's just a random page from one of your books. We would totally love that.
Oh, you want one of them?
Just one
I
page.
have a couple.
So you fax
this sounds a lot like Google Books without the budget.
So you fax this. We receive your fax. We say, oh yeah, that's a valid fax. And we say, okay, well, they probably want a fax sent back. So let me send you the actual copy of the website. And it's all set up in 3 columns and it's really dense. It's hard to read. And so at WordCamp Riverside, we just
intentionally hard to read.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's fax. It's not, it's the medium itself. So
plain paper or thermal?
So funny story. We were in Riverside, and so my dad has this like pristine fax machine. It's like the Sharp UX 110 or something. I'm like, of course it's the UX model. So he pulls this down from the closet in my parents' house, and he's like, "Hey, you can borrow this for as long as you need." I tell him about this weird project.
But I really need it back. Is that he said?
Yeah, no, like he does need it back.
So you can borrow this, but I need it back.
The fax.
So we're driving to Riverside, and I'm like, well, I haven't gotten the thermal paper yet. So I call over to the local office supply store. This is a real story. So they say,
Laughed at you.
We have a couple of them. It shows that we have them. And I check online, and it's like, yeah, we have a couple of them. So I show up, and I'm traversing, the aisles of this office store, and I turn left, and I see a typewriter section. So in Riverside right now, you can actually buy a typewriter with a warranty. And get this, they had 30 some odd ribbons for various typewriters that you can still purchase today.
Well,
electric
I would like
or
to-
manual? Electric or the one? This one,
Electric,
this guy.
but
Okay.
the ribbons are for both.
I want to point something out. This is not necessarily that you can still buy, because there was a period in time where it went away. Those types of things are.
Dude, we still have a
coming
Selectric
back.
at the church. We still have a Selectric.
because there's so much, like, the market's condensing, but there's still interest in that, like vinyl stores, how record stores are, like, kind of having a bit of a resurgence, because they went away for a while, but now they're trying to, like, oh wait, people do want this. Similar thing with the typewriter.
So
You think you want a typewriter?
Speaking as someone who owns a bunch of typewriters.
okay. I'm talking about normal people.
There's a lot of people that I know.
Hey, normal people.
What is normal?
Yeah, I know a lot of literary people, a lot of, like, people like that, a lot of artists, a lot of
that would rather use a typewriter as a tool.
Haven't you seen that cool thing?
I understand.
Like,
I understand.
a typewriter, but it's different.
I understand having a typewriter in your house as a piece of art, right? Collecting a typewriter. I get that.
Like a book.
Are you gonna sit down and write an essay on a typewriter?
Well, now you can really easily scan that in, because you can just take a picture of the page and make it digital. So you can now have the ability to get the satisfaction of the clickety clackety, and then you can still scan in the text. So now you can do both.
But now you don't have to do anything that's pixel perfect. It doesn't
Now
have
you
to
can
be
just
pixel
talk
perfect.
to
It
your
just needs to be
phone. You don't even
roughly.
have to type. You just be like, hello?
How's it
Let me
go?
type to you.
But in the spirit of serious things, what you should do is you should
Spirit
generate.
of serious things.
That's
Wrong
the
show. Wrong
show.
show.
That is the new. No, that's the new name of this show.
Very serious.
In the spirit
Yeah.
of serious things.
So say you take a picture of this typewritten thing. I want it to call a web API that does OCR recognition. So there's this new Amazon OCR API that is actually pretty cool. Or you send it to the fax API, and then you're generating a fax based on your typewriter.
Who am I sending the fax to?
It doesn't matter.
Just
Send it to
only
us.
you.
We'll take it.
Only sending faxes to you.
Or even better, what you can do is you can parse all that OCR content and send it straight to Gutenberg. So you can use the typewriter and Gutenberg together. This is totally possible. In fact, if you want, we'll build it.
You're only talking about preserving digital content, in a way.
Not necessarily. So in our eyes, we think about this as a framework for the weird, wild, and strange. So I was
Actually, that's the new name of the show.
Weird, wild, and strange.
Yeah.
Framework for the weird, wild, and strange.
That actually fits really well. I just want to be clear on that.
Sorry, Leo, go ahead.
So Chris Aldrich, IndieWeb fame, awesome, cool guy, came up to us after the talk, and he was like, "So I know this guy who does cuneiform molds. You should sell clay tablets on your website." And I was like, "Yes. However, we're going to start with the thing that's actually low-hanging fruit." So currently, if you send us a self-addressed stamp envelope, we have the first human API I think as the internet has ever seen. So
The
I will
human
actually,
API?
yeah, it's me. I will mail you back a copy of the website.
That's just called being alive, Leo. That's not an API. That's just being a human being.
Oh.
I get it. I mean, you're an interface.
No. Leo is the Matrix. He's got a little thing in the back of his head. He's wired in right now. I know it. Show us, Leo.
Yeah.
So, here's the other thing, and this blew my mind when I discovered it a couple months ago.
Blowed your mind.
That, so back in, I think it was like 2006, when Western Union stopped sending telegrams.
That was like a national day of mourning. We should have. That,
they actually sold off their telegraph network.
To Leo?
No,
Sorry.
a company called iTelegram, I think. And you can actually go on their website and you can order a telegram that will be delivered by hand to anyone in under a day.
Oh, I know what Steve's getting right now.
Is that crowdsourced delivery? Is that like Uber? Like
you all have a
Uber?
Christmas gift coming.
No, but I want to
actually,
know what is the network for delivering in person that telegram? Because that's the problem.
person.
Like staffing.
A person.
It exists. We don't need to worry about the network. It exists.
Yeah. Who cares how it happens? As long as it gets done.
Magical pixies, okay?
That's what
Dude,
everyone
Doc
says.
Brown is going to be screwed if he can't get this thing out. So I totally get it.
Oh my God. iTelegram is probably the worst interface I've ever seen in my life, as you'd expect for like site like iTelegram.
But you can get a piece of paper in someone's hand in under 24 hours across the world.
Yeah, you know what else can do that?
And
Leo's fax machine.
Yeah.
We intend, by the way, to provide further API support down the line. So, for example, one day you'll be able to fax a request for a Telegram going through Gutenberg that will hopefully hit the iTelegram API. It's in our
Gutenberg
roadmap.
is just in here because you like the name, right?
And you can also access this with a tin can and a string. It's going to be awesome.
It's literally a RESTful API.
Oh,
I need to know.
actually, now that you say that,
I need to know where Gutenberg fits into this, because if otherwise you're just writing a hashtag. That's what I'm calling it. Like, how's Gutenberg, WordPress 5.0 editor, related to this at all?
So Gutenberg is our single statement of truth. So David and I, in our draft stage of writing content, working with content, thinking about all content and using the APIs that are part of Core, we started with Gutenberg as the place to generate all of this stuff. So our talk was called
WordPress.
Yeah. But specifically,
let's clarify what we're talking about. We're talking about WordPress, not necessarily Gutenberg, because Gutenberg is just a text editor.
Yes, but they've got, just to be clear, they've got WordPress running on a speak and spell.
Word problem.
I just want to know, is Steve going to be able to get a text message of the website to his Alpha Elite? If he can't, then I don't know if
Sidekick. It's going to my sidekick.
I know we're laughing and stuff, but I think this is all very interesting.
I actually think it's very interesting. I'm just adding some comic relief.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to be clear on that, because that's what we do here. That's our job here.
I can get WordPress running on this itty bitty thing right now. Okay.
Well, we are the framework. We are the framework for the weird, wild, and strange.
Exactly.
Yep.
I want to receive a fax message on the little digital badge that George made for me, and then I want it to transmit to the Festivus pole that is on the other side of the country, and then I want that to tap out in Morse code. Hello. That's all I wanted to say.
it's the literal
Morse code. We can do it.
we can totally do it.
You need a smoke signal in there somewhere.
I can do that. I'll do that. I volunteer.
George, do you want to help me build an Arduino bot that converts like data into flashes?
Can I be that new an API? Can I be
a smoke signal with a blanket?
We have clear
So
skies.
last time we asked George to do something.
Wait, that's cultural appropriation. I can't do that. Never mind.
He built it in with like 45 minutes of us being done with the show, and he was like, "Oh yeah, here's Hello Dolly as
on a Raspberry Pi."
Yeah.
Here's Hello Dolly as a Guten block done.
So just to be clear, like part of this principle is that David and I.
There it is.
Give me that pad.
David and I really want people to have hobbies. We want people to stop being so stressed
Those
about
are some
stuff.
real high expectations, Leo.
I want people to have fun. I want people to like text message a website. Like that's weird. Like we should do this. Like why don't we think
Why
about?
are we text messaging websites? Wait, I want to talk this
You
one
can
through.
text
We have 2
message
minutes.
right now with
Yeah.
Twilio.
I want to talk about this. What happens in your mind after I text message a website? The website talks to me, or a human talks to me?
Well,
It faxes you a
Let's
picture of
walk
a
through
cat.
this experience. We have 1 minute. Do it. Walk me through.
So if you text us and you say, "Tell me a story," it actually will respond, and you can start to talk to a bot, right? As we do these things, these are very, very normal things for us to be able to do.
Right. I can talk to bots all day. It's super fun.
That's all I talk to,
I
actually.
actually got my spirit name from a bot once, because the bot named me. And spirit animal, and that's also cool. I'm just
follow me here.
All over the place today.
Integrate this to Gutenberg. Integrate all of your content paths. Integrate all of these things.
Stop calling it Gutenberg. Aren't we supposed to not do that anymore?
When it releases, I'll change my mind.
Okay, let's call it
New visual editor.
But to be fair, there are tons of important API improvements that come along with Gutenberg. There are tons of core structures that we intend to leverage more. We didn't meet all of our goals of this project because like we were crazy pie in the sky. But
Raspberry Pi in the sky.
Well, we're going to be building a BBS. We're going to be doing all kinds of weird stuff.
Yeah.
But I also want to call out that like people panic and people get way too excited about the new things. So whether it's a VR headset or Gutenberg, whatever it might be, one day it'll be just as innocuous as an old floppy disk. It really will be.
As Atari.
And
awesome.
As Usenet.
And even better, This little $90 banana phone is actually more exciting than my Pixel 3, which is $1,000.
It has a song that goes with it. Of course, it's more exciting. Ring, 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 banana phone.
And at the end of the day, if we're not trying to have fun with our lives, what are we doing? Like, we all need to like let go and breathe a little.
And sing Banana Phone. Everyone should go watch that right now. I want it all to be in our head.
Banana phone.
And with that, I want to say thank you very much for all of you for hanging out with us, talking about nothing about WordPress, except for maybe a little bit of iTelegram, a little bit of how to get the WordPresses to actually talk to all the old school interfaces that we have.
The weird,
Thank you
wild,
very
and the
much.
strange.
Talk to y'all later.